Hi, my name is Jim Callari. I'm the editorial director of Plastics Technology magazine, and I'm joined today by Kevin Huntsman, who's the senior vice president of Mastio Company, a market research firm based in St. Joseph, Missouri. Over the next couple of weeks, Plastics Technology is going to be doing a series of blogs on polyethylene film markets that will be based on research Mastio conducted in 2019 and released earlier this year. We're going to be doing 5 blogs on the 5 biggest polyethylene film markets based on Mastio's research, and 5 others on the fastest growing polyethylene film markets based on Mastio's research. Today, Kevin and I are going to talk a little bit about consumer trash bags. Before we do, Kevin, could you give us some talking points about Mastio Company and the research that you do and how it's conducted?
Absolutely, Jim. Thank you for the opportunity. We appreciate the work that Plastics Technology does in partnering with Mastio and sharing some of the findings from the PE film study. And to echo what you're saying, 30 years of the Mastio PE film study. So it's been around a long time. Mastio has only been around a little bit longer, so it's been around most of our life. This study is very, very popular, not only with the converters, but with the machinery manufacturers, private equity, others. The study is led by Kim Enna, who's been on our team for about 27 years. And Kim's team really practices a key methodology around primary research, Jim. And what I mean by that is we collect the data ourselves. So our team here and Kim's team makes telephone calls, talks to the key people within the organizations, from procurement to marketing to sales to engineering to logistics, across the board, to capture what I would call a holistic view of a company and their participation in the market, what resins they use, where they see the growth, et cetera. And as you noted earlier, this study, we collected the data the latter part of 2019 into early 2020 with the published data of March. Obviously, this being a compelling industry with polyethylene, and this polyethylene film market study fits right in very well.
Good. So what are the talking points? What are the highlights of your research as it pertains to consumer trash bags?
Yeah, consumer trash bags, as you mentioned earlier, we're looking at the 5 largest market. This happens to be the 5th largest market in our study. What's interesting here is the top 3 participants in this market control nearly 70% of the market. Then it's fairly fragmented after that. So it's not a market that's easy to enter. It's highly competitive. This is a market that over the years of doing this, and we all know this well, that government regulations, environmental issues, sustainability come into play with this market. Not an easy market from a recyclability perspective in some instances, especially given the quality of the resin needed from an innovation perspective. A market that we see constant innovation. You wouldn't think so in trash bags, but there is. If you think about the handles, Jim, you think about there's even scented bags now. So right. There's a lot of different things that years ago you and I probably would have scoffed at, saying that this would never be an issue in the consumer trash bag industry. And I think along with that, you also see really less material needed for a stronger bag. That's how they address many of the environmental and sustainability concerns without degrading the quality. Another innovation that we've seen for some time but continues to be there are the handles. When you pull that bag out, you can cinch it up, you can tie it. So unlike what we call institutional trash bags, which are more commoditized, the consumer trash bag is a much more innovative product that we cover.
Interestingly, despite all the innovation, though, it's still predominantly a monolayer market. Not much co-extrusion here.
Very little, if any, and we don't see that changing either, not in the near future.
Right. I think what that suggests to me is that predominantly these companies are running the same equipment that they have 20 years ago. I mean, there's probably not much capital equipment investment as long as these machines continue to pump out resin.
Well, I would agree, and again, you're not in what I would call a market with a very high margin. So it's a fairly tight margin market, and in any way you can gain margin, and machinery is a good place to gain it when you don't have to buy new.
Right. Good. Thanks for your input, Kevin. I'd like to remind everyone who is watching this that if you read the blog, you'll be able to link to all of our other blogs that we have written as part of this series, and also be able to link to the Mastio website to find out what's going on there. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jim.